What's happening, family? Dr. Joe here. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, and I hope each of you are well and blessed. I want to take some time to salute all of you for being here on today. I'm excited about the information that I'm about to share, and I know many of you are as well. There may be those of you who are here, you don't know me, we've never met, we've never worked together. I'm Dr. Joe. I'm the author and the founder of the world's greatest transformational processes, the 40-day turn up, and the Journey 3.0 plus process. This particular, these processes started with my own journey. More than 15 years ago, I lost 130 pounds and I was able to keep it off and have been able to keep it off for a generation. I was the type of person who struggled with weight. I was always husky as a child, big as an adult, and overweight after post college. Obesity was just something that I always struggled with, like many people, just like you, just like many of your family members. I was no different. I had suffered from obesity for such a long time that I wanted. I mean, it was like I suffered from obesity for such a long time that I I just never thought or saw myself outside of being big. I just almost like identified with my obesity. And I've seen a lot of people do that. A lot of people just get to the point where they accept it. This is who I am. Well, the point of that I'm making is what I learned in my life was my problem wasn't weight. Uh, the manifestation of weight was the byproduct of other things that were going on with me, primarily spiritual things, emotional things, trauma, uh, things that I was dealing with, coping with, and didn't even realize it. I lacked discipline. I lacked structure. I lacked education. A lot of people live these lives of obesity because they have a lot of unresolved mess and webbing in and around those different areas that they haven't addressed. So when I see an obese person, or when you become an obese person, your obesity is like a check engine light. It's not that you should be judged because you're overweight, but as an individual, you have to understand that that obesity should be a telltale sign that something else is wrong with me that I need to address. Now, the problem that we live in now is we're living in a day and age to where everybody's trying to take shortcuts. People want surgeries, they want gastric sleeves, gastric bypass surgeries. They want Now we have the shots that people are taking that are going to become the standard of care. When you say standard of care, what does that mean? What I mean is the standard of care is going to be whenever a person is overweight, you're going to go to your doctor, and Ozempic and other GLP-1 shots are going to be one more weapon in their arsenal to give you. So when your cholesterol is high, take a statin, take a blood thinner. When you're when you're hypertensive, let's take Cinepril. Let's take some type of water pill. When you have erectile dysfunction, let's take some Cialis. Let's take some Viagra. When your thyroid is off, let's get you on some hormones. If a man who's in his 30s, testosterone levels are dropping, let's put you on some TRT. It's a pill for everything. And then when you got a pill for everything, every pill has a side effect. The side effect is sometimes worse than what it is that you're dealing with. But side effects are very, very profitable because if I'm giving you a pill that's causing a side effect, guess what? Pharmaceutical companies produce pills for pills. So 80% of people who are on Ozempic, Wegovy, or other GLP-1s have nausea and gastric issues. So now what they're doing is, okay, we're going to give you the Ozempic, which is $1,000+ a month. All right. And if you have nausea, we're going to give you a pill for that. But now what they've noticed with Ozempic over extended usage, it creates muscle wasting. So what's happening is if a person starts at 300 pounds, right, and they lose 100 pounds after being on Ozempic, a vast majority or as much fat that is lost is muscle. So what's happening is a lot of people who are on it are having wasting type of issues. So what happens is when you lose the weight on the shot, a lot of the weight that you lost was muscle. So now you are a smaller fat person, okay, who has less muscle. The less lean muscle you have, the less your basal metabolic rate is going to be, meaning how many calories you can burn. The key to burning calories is the higher amounts of lean muscle you have, the more calories your body's going to burn with doing nothing. So the point of losing weight is not just losing weight, but it's losing the right type of weight, and it's doing the right things to get there. So the problem, the what I'm saying is, what looks to be a fix of obesity is not going to fix obesity, because what causes obesity are people who are overeating, eating the wrong types of foods, not knowing how to eat, not exercising, not moving enough, not consuming enough, not understanding insulin resistance, and not understanding that it's almost impossible to lose weight if you have insulin resistance, and you have to be able to eat and live in a way that directly makes you more insulin sensitive, which is the antithesis of insulin resistance. These are all the components that equate to these types of things. So, be that as it may, I started this some 13 years ago, had great results. And when COVID came, is really mushroomed and really grown into an amazing village. I've worked with probably 50,000 people over the last decade. And if it's not 50,000, we're not far from it. Um, we do 3 classes per year. We start off with the 40-day turn up. The subsequent classes, the journey, which is an invitational based. After the journey, then we take people who become leaders and coaches, keep them in a capacity to take other people through. And in having so much success, and when I say so much success, I'm talking about being able to produce results statistically in 6 weeks, what people who are on GLP-1 shots are getting out of a year. Okay. And we've got documented evidence of that. Like, we've got statistics to prove that. So to be able to get people better results quicker with no pills, no surgeries, no shots, none of that, has been just a great ministry that we're proud of, that has come out of the Black church. The Black church is the reason why this exists. And we as Black people are suffering, but we're doing something about it. Okay. Now, in the process of doing it, and I'm giving you guys the story, in the process of doing all of what I've said, I noticed that I was working with a lot of people who were had autoimmune problems. Now, autoimmune conditions are so very common. 1 in 5 Americans, we're talking about 45 to 50 million people, suffer with an autoimmune condition. And I was dealing with people, and as I was working with them, we were noticing how a lot of their conditions were improving. And when I noticed it probably about 3 years ago, I began to study it. And I, at that time, wrote a protocol specifically for people with autoimmune conditions. Autoimmune conditions is nothing more than some type of systemic inflammation that's in the body. If you can reduce the amount of inflammation in the body, you're going to reverse autoimmune conditions, fix it, or greatly improve symptoms. Bottom line, autoimmune conditions or the problems that people have are the byproduct of people who have been exposed to being in an inflamed state over an extended amount of time. Okay. It's just the bottom line. That's what that's just what happens. And that's what people, it's just the bottom line. Depending on the type of inflammation that you have or how long you've been under said inflammation will determine the type of autoimmune condition you have. We all have different genetic predispositions. Your genes are your genes. There's nothing you can do with that, but your life. So the genes loads the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. So if three of us are eating the same types of foods and we're inflamed over an extended amount of time, we all may not have the same manifestation of the same autoimmune condition. One of us may have irritable bowel syndromes or Crohn's disease, a gastric type of problem. Some of us may have developed various forms of alopecia, another type of autoimmune condition. Some of us may have psoriasis or eczema, another type of autoimmune condition. Some of us may have some type of thyroid conditions. All of the aforementioned conditions are byproducts of the body being inflamed, but they manifest as different types of diseases. These diseases that are now developing an estimated 50 million Americans is prime real estate for the monetization of disease. If I've got alopecia, if I've got eczema, if I've got psoriasis, if I've got irritable bowel syndrome, if I've got Crohn's disease, if I've got whatever my autoimmune condition, what am I doing? I'm going to a doctor, and every single doctor is going to run tests, diagnose me, and give me pills. That's the only thing you're going to get at 99% of traditionally trained medical doctors. This is nothing against a doctor. This is nothing against their office. The best way to combat an autoimmune condition is by understanding what causes it, and that is inflammation. And if you combat and address the inflammation, you're going to address the condition. So earlier this year, and I'm giving you all full context because I want you all to understand what you're about to see. We had our first autoimmune course. We took a group of people through the 40-day turn up who had autoimmune conditions. We tracked them. All right. And what I'm about to share with you are the results of this particular study. Before I get to the results, I'm going to let you know all of the demographics, how many people were in it, what type of conditions they had, and all of the nuances so you can understand specifically what you're looking at. Shout out to my amazing team. We produce all of our own statistics. We produce all of our own analytics. We pay for this. We have our own in-house statistician. Every time I take a group of people through this process, we are garnering statistics because that's what allows you to show people the efficacy and the fact that you don't have to take my word for it. Okay. Also, whenever you have statistics, it becomes the foundation of things that are peer reviewed. And that's what we really want to get to the point. And we're working on that to where you can take said process, give it to other people, and they duplicate the same type of results. That's what a peer review, something that's peer reviewed. Basically, your peers are reviewing it to try to see efficacy. Can this be duplicated? All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go and bring up our statistics. Okay. So it says 40 DTU autoimmune study. And you can see that what you're going to see revolves from March the 4th to April the 15th, 2024. That's a 6-week process. Keep in mind, Everything that you're seeing was over the course of 6 weeks. All right. We had 255 who completed the pre-survey survey. This is participants and leadership from 2023 and 2024. 161 of the 255 people completed the post survey. 104 of the 164 completed the post survey are rebirth graduates. Okay. And that is from 2024. Although participants have multiple autoimmune disorders, they were instructed to concentrate on one of them for the purpose of the survey. We didn't want to convolute the statistics or the data. So a lot of times we had people who were suffering from multiple autoimmune conditions, but we asked them for the sake of this particular study to focus on one so the statistics would not be marred or confusing. All right. Demographics, 98% Black or African American, 1% other, 1% white or Caucasian. Look at the eating style. 83% are meat eaters, 12% pescatarians, fish, 4% vegetarians, 2% vegans. Age range, 2% from 20 to 29. Notice how it spikes up, 50 to 59. That's the hot spot. 50% of our autoimmune sufferers are from 50 to 59. Level of activity, I do not exercise much at all, 37%. So the vast majority of autoimmune patients are inactive. 30%, my main exercise is intentional walking. 27%, I exercise moderately at least 3 times per week. 7%, I exercise vigorously. That's very telling. Okay. All right, let's look at the autoimmune disorders we're dealing with. All right. And the top three: number one, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's thyroids, chronic lymphocystic thyroiditis, autoimmune thyroiditis, eczema, atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, Graves' disease. Those are the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 autoimmune disorders. Okay. We've got a litany of different symptoms: loss of color inside mouth, muscle weakness, numbness, tingling, feeling in arms, legs, hands, and feet, rectal bleeding, reduced movement and function, sensitivity to cold, severe dental cavities, all right, tripping and falling, weakness and trouble of coordination, balance, back pain, arthritis. You can see how extensive our data is. Hair loss, thick red patches covered with scales, bulging eyes, cold hands or feet, dry, itchy skin, hair loss. This is a sampling of the symptoms that people we're dealing with. All right, for context. Now look at this. We're studying now how long it has been since you were diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. 4%, 6 to 12 months, 10%, 1 to 2 years, 14%, 2 to 5 years, 33%, 5 to 10 years, 10 years or more, 39%. So 39, almost 40% of our participants who were in the AI course have been diagnosed for 10 years or more. How many autoimmune diseases have you received an official diagnosis for? 64%, 1, 25%, 2, 11%, 3. Now, look at this quality of life. How has autoimmune condition affected your quality of life? Scale 1, not much at all, 10, very much. 13% of people, 3. 4%, we got 7% of people, 4. 5, we've got 10% of people at 5, 17% of people at 6, 13% of people at 7, 15% of people at 8, 3% of people at 9, and 11% of people say my autoimmune condition has very much so impacted my life. So when you look at those numbers from 6 to 10, you're talking about, let's see, that's 20%, 30%, 35. Almost half of people are saying that my scale of how much my autoimmune condition has impacted me from 6 to 10 is 40% or north. How's it affected your mobility? Look at this, 21%, 12, 9%, 10, all right? How's it affected your cognition? Okay. All right, look at this. Autoimmune history. Do you have a family history with this autoimmune condition? 37% says yes, rheumatoid arthritis. That's huge. Do you have a family history with any autoimmune disease? Look at this. 61% said yes. So now you're seeing we're dealing with systemic issues. Okay? Let's look at doctor's care. Are you actively under the care of a medical doctor for this condition? 75% said yes. If under a medical doctor's care, how many times per year do you visit him or her as relates to this autoimmune condition? As needed, 37%, annually, 14%, twice a year, 25%, every 2 months, 20%, monthly, 4%. Look at this. Have you had attention or guidance from a nutritionist or dietitian? 71% no. Have you sought attention from a naturopathic or holistic doctor? 82% no. Fascinating. Have you had surgical procedures? I just want y'all to see how legit this village is. Salute to this amazing village. Salute to everybody who's come through the village, who has made sacrifices for it in time, in the seeds that you've sown, and in your belief in it. And I just want you all to know that all of you who've come before should be proud, because this is cutting edge research that no company, no pharmaceutical company has done. We're doing it completely independent, and it's because of you. Salute to all of you. Now look at this. Are you legally disabled because of your AI disorder? 12% said yes, 88% said no. All right. Are you on prescription meds? 68% yes. Do you take non-prescription meds due to AI disorder, ibuprofen, creams? Almost half said yes. Are you in remission? 20% say yes. 8% said no. Have you ever been told by a medical doctor that you're in remission? 13% say yes, no. Post-survey review. So that's all of the statistics that you just got of what happened prior to the demographic that was studied who went through this same course. So now we tested them after, and I want you to see the results of what they say they endured or experienced. All right. All right. Strictly followed clean eating protocol. So 56% of the participants said that they strictly adhered to what the 40-day turn up taught and the protocol in the autoimmune course. 21%, 9, 14%, 8. So the vast majority of people strictly adhered to everything that was going on with not only clean eating, water consumption, and exercise regimen. Okay. Now let's look at relief. How has your sleep improved? Look, 53% of people said that their sleep improved by 10 in terms of the highest amount of improvement. More than half. Look at this. 16% says it's 9. 18% says it's 14. That within itself is miraculous. When you are sleeping good, you are going to live tremendously better than you were before. Look at this. Has your level of mobility improved? 41%, 10, 25%, 9, 19%, 8. So the vast majority of folks sleeping better and moving better. Look at this one. Look at the next one. Has your level of pain improved? Look, 28% 10, 22% 9, 25% 8, 10% 7. Look at this. So people are sleeping better dramatically. Look at these graphs. Dramatically sleeping better, moving better dramatically. Notice how the statistics at the lower end aren't even. The notice how as it goes across and it moves up dramatically 7, 8, 9, 10. Sleeping better, less pain, better mobility. Look at cognition, 35% at a 10, 22% at a 9, 24% at an 8. Look at this. For somebody went through something for 6 weeks and got dramatic improvement from autoimmune conditions that the vast majority of them have been diagnosed with more than 10 years. The vast majority are seeing doctors for it. The vast majority are taking prescription drugs, had dramatic improvements of sleep, mobility, pain, and cognition. That within itself is a mic drop. We can stop right now. And look at this. This is telling. If you were on prescription meds before the 4-day turn up with Dr. Joe, were they discontinued? We're talking about people who have autoimmune conditions. Look at this. This is fascinating. 28% of them discontinued their meds in 6 weeks. 28%. Don't take them to some. 5% all. 39% no. 28% not applicable. All right. If you were on prescription meds before the 40 days with Dr. Joe, were they reduced? 28% said yes, some. 7% all of them. 31% no, 35% NA. I'll take it. If your prescription meds were not discontinued or reduced, did you talk with your medical doctor about adjustments to your medication in the future? 32% said yes, 21% said no, 47% NA. Overall improvements. How much relief have you found from the symptoms of the autoimmune disease? 19% 10, 23% 9, 33% 8, 12% 7. Look how it dramatically increases, just like it did with cognition, with pain, with rest. How has your quality of life improved? 61%. Do y'all see this? 61% 10, 14% 9, 17% 8. Look at this, autoimmune overall improvements. How excited are you to continue your wellness journey, leaning on what you learn while in the 40-day turn up to heal your body? 1, not at all. 10, extremely. 88% are excited. Look at this. Average weight loss per AI, 19.3 pounds. People with autoimmune conditions averaged more than the overall group. Now, look at this. You see that? 40-day turn up participants flat with AI disorder. They lost 8.8% of their body weight. Now, for those of you who don't know, when they did all of the studies for Ozempic in the first trial, people were losing like 9+% of their body weight in the first 52 weeks. Autoimmune participants averaged 8.8% in 40 days. No shot, baby. You feel what I'm saying? And any of you right now can go and you can Google that. You can Google all the abstracts that you want on medical documents so you can see what Ozempic released when they were looking at their findings to see how much weight people were losing. Did it work? Yeah, people were losing weight, but it was taking them a year in what it takes us 40 days for. Look how their blood pressure changed. 10.1%. systolic over 10.2 diastolic. Their blood pressure went down by 10%, top number, bottom number. What's context of that? If a person who had 130 over 90 blood pressure when they started, that top number went down 13 points. That bottom number went down 9 points, just for context. Gang, listen, this is groundbreaking, avant-garde research. You do not see research like this done independently, and you don't see research like this that works. For those of you all who are in the process, you're a leader, and you did not have the opportunity to come through. For those of you who registered for the next 4-day turn-up, you will have the opportunity to go through this same autoimmune course. For those of you who have a diagnosed autoimmune condition, once we get you in the groups and we start the process, we're going to have a separate registration. You're going to have to fill out the information. We're going to flag you. And the way it's going to work is we're going to take you through the autoimmune course while you are going through the 40-day turn-up. You're going to be exposed to all of the coursework. We're going to have downloadable documentations, devotionals. We're going to have journals for you. We're going to have all types of things that you'll be able to download, you'll be able to get. And then we're going to have a weekly class and update. At the end of the session, we'll come together in person, review. This is groundbreaking. Before we started at the beginning of this year, I felt that we were going to get good results, but I'm going to be honest with you. I did not think the results that we were going to get were going to be as sterling as these. Here at the 40-day turn-up, here at the Journey 3.0 Plus process, which is under the umbrella of 40 Days with Dr. Joe, we thank God for what God has allowed us to do. I thank God for each of you who come through the process. You sowed seeds because you believed in it. Listen, this is the fruit of your labor. For all of you who came through the process and you gave, you sowed seeds so people can go through, so we can continue to expand, shout, clap, because you literally just have transformed the lives of not just people who graduate from the 40-day turn-up, but people with autoimmune nasty conditions who've been on drugs, who've been taking pills, been in pain, had poor sleep, decreasing cognition. And what you have done has instantly allowed them to be blessed. What better way to know where your seats are going to and from? Now, the way we sustain ourselves here at the 40-day turn-up is folks who are getting ready to come through the 40-day turn-up. The reason why there's no charge for the process is because people who came through sowed a seed into our nonprofit organization to give you the opportunity to come through. So be grateful for those who come before you. And at the end of your process, we're going to ask you to do the same thing for people who look to come through in the next class. All right. So I hope y'all have enjoyed these statistics. If you want to join the next 40-day turn-up class, look at the link in the description below. Be a part. Well, Dr. Joe, what if I don't have an autoimmune condition? If you don't have an autoimmune condition and you just want to go through the 40-day turn-up, by all means you can. We'll flag and separate folks on the back end once we get you all in the group. We're still in registration. We're still moving forward. You can see the link in the description in order to be a part. I also want to encourage all of you to join our social media pages on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And all of them have the same handle at Journey Life TV. Until next time, be well, be blessed, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.